Hello, my neurosparkly crew. I realised as I was talking about pathological demand avoidance that actually I needed to talk about this in more depth. Now, I know these longer form videos don't perform as well, but I will ask you if you can to bear with, because I think this is quite an interesting and quite an important topic. A lot of us with neurodiverse diagnoses have this as one of our traits, have pathological demand avoidance. And it's really, really difficult. I think it's one of the most difficult for somebody who is more neurotypical to understand, or anybody who doesn't have PDA to understand, because everybody thinks they find things difficult sometimes. So everybody thinks, oh, well, you know, we all don't like to do those sorts of jobs. Sometimes nobody wants to empty the bin. Nobody wants to empty the dishwasher. It's just hard. But you need to understand that for somebody with PDA, it's not just hard. It's impossible. The shutters come down, the wall goes up, and it's impossible. There's part of it for me is literally a voice in my head, is literally the brain weasels. And I can sit in what appears to be very neutral silence, scrolling on my phone, looking like I'm being as lazy as anything, when in fact inside my brain is a complete turmoil of argument. I am arguing with myself. Get in that kitchen and get that work done right now. No, I don't want to. I can't. I don't want to. This isn't going to happen. Just get in there now. No, you're being lazy. No, I'm not. And I'm having this massive, massive argument with myself internally, which I can't get past. I'll even try to forgive myself. Okay, never mind. We'll just sit down. Good. It's like living with the worst kind of annoying teenager literally inside your head. And as somebody who has a lot of coping strategies and who is very heavily masked, that's incredibly frustrating. I don't have a strategy to get past every aspect of my PDA. So that is a really, really difficult thing for me to get past, because it's incredibly frustrating. Now, when I'm working with somebody who has PDA, I'm a lot better at forgiving them and working out strategies for them than I am for working out strategies for myself. But some things do work for both of us. So one thing that works when you know that something always triggers your PDA is routine. Making a routine for that particular thing. One of my PDAs is shower. I have to have a shower. This is non-negotiable. I will smell very bad if I do not shower, but it can become a go shower now. No, I don't want to. So I have a routine. I have a set time I shower. I have a set duration for that shower. I have a set order of tasks that I will always do for that shower, and it is a routine. These things happen at the same time every week. It's not a demand I have to place on myself right now. It is simply a case of, oh look, it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, I shower. So having routines in place and having schedules in place really help with PDA, because although the day you make that routine, it's a demand and you hate it, after that, it's not a demand anymore, because this is just what happens on that day. So having routines in place and having schedules in place really help. The other thing that helps a lot is to have visuals in place for some tasks that happen in locations. So when I get to my dishwasher, I have a set of tasks I need to perform for the dishwasher. Having that laid out as a task strip is just really helpful, so that I can just check off that task strip and I know I can then see at what point it is finished. I have done this, it is finished. So a task strip really, really helps. Having a visual at the door for what I need to get and what do I have to go out is really helpful. Before I knew I had autism, before I had my diagnosis for autism, I would forget things all the time, and that would become really bad as well, because or I would deliberately leave things behind because I can't go get them now, or I've refused to take them, and that became quite difficult, quite challenging. So having a ritual, having a routine, having a task strip, having visuals, these things will all help remove and reduce the demand. Once you've hit that block, and it could be a new demand, so something you haven't hit before, once you've hit that block, you need to loop back to a place before it. So if you are working with a young person and for the first time ever, they've hit a block. It might be something they've done 100 times before, but today it's a block. So 100 times they have put their coat on when you've said put your coat on, no problem, but today it's no. You can either, is it important? Can you just remove it? Okay, no coat, no problem, I'll carry it. Can you reduce the demand? So can you just be like, we'll put our coat on later? Can you, or you need to recycle. So it's like reduce, recycle. I actually remember that as like your recycling code, reduce, reuse, recycle. So can you reduce, remove, recycle? So when you recycle back to a time before the PDA hit. Okay, no problem. Let's go back to the house. Now, this can be very frustrating as somebody working with a young person with autism or ADHD because it feels like you're just never making any progress. But actually, you are making progress. You are making progress because every time you cycle back, you are increasing the chances that next time you come to that position, you will be able to get through it, no problem. So you recycle back to your place before you were in this demand avoidance state. So, okay, let's go back to the sofa then, or let's go back to the kitchen. And then while that young person goes back to what they were doing to regulate, you go and reduce the demands at the door. So you're going to go and you're going to put the coat right next to the door. You're going to put the shoes and the coat right next to each other. And you're not that, so you've already given that demand. You don't need to give it again. Okay. And then you're going to go back to the young person where they are and you're going to say, when you are ready, we're going to go to Nanny's. When you are ready, we're going to go to the shops. Okay. Let's give ourselves 5 minutes. Okay. In 5 minutes, we're going to go to the door. And you'll set your timer for 5 minutes. You'll show them the visual of where we're going, Nanny's or shopping. If you can, show them a now iPad, now eating, whatever it is they're doing to regulate. So now snacks, next Nanny's. And you're going to then you're going to remove yourself and remove the demand from their vicinity. Okay. When you then recycle back to them to start that demand cycle again, you're just going to go, oh, time. Now, Nanny's. What do we do? Pause iPad. So we're going back to the point. Wait for them to get ready, go to the door. Now, it should be, because you've already placed the demand on them for shoes on, coat on, that they'll get to the door and they'll see their coat and they'll see their shoes and they will remember that this is the next steps. And all you'll need to do is pick that coat up and hand it to them, or they'll just pick it up and put it on themselves if they're a bit more independent. Again, with the shoes, you'll just pick them up. You will say nothing, and that's really important. Don't add the demand back on at this point. You don't need to say anything. For somebody who does need more prompting, use a visual at this point. Don't use a verbal command. The verbal command is more demanding than a visual prompt. Okay, so you're going to go back in with a thing. If we're still struggling and now we can't go out of the door, recycle. Okay, we need 5 more minutes. Back to the point before the demand. Okay, let's go back 5 more minutes. But you're not removing the task that we're going to do. We're just recycling back to the point before it. You might at this point remove the preferred activity if they were doing a preferred activity. So you might not go back to iPad or you might not go back to television, but you will go back to that room. Okay, so you're going to go back, back to kitchen, and then we'll wait. And then remove yourself. That's really important as well, because you are now demand. You are now the embodiment of demand. You need to move away. So you need to go. Maybe you go and do something else somewhere else. Do not go and wait at the door. If you go and wait at the door, you are literally becoming the signpost of demand. Okay. This is a good time for you to go and process and regulate, because you're probably getting frustrated. So now is a good time for you to go into another room, take a deep breath, regulate, and think about what you could do to reduce, remove, or recycle the demand so that we can get past the door. Okay, so maybe next time we're going to have the door open already. So before we even get to the door, we're not going to stop at the door. We're going to go straight through. That might not work if your child is a runner and if that's dangerous, but maybe is there something else you could do? Could you already have the car ready? and have the car door open, so that once you've got the door open, the front door open, the car door is already open? Is there something else you can do that's going to remove another point of demand, another possible block? So you're going to think about, have I removed enough demand? Now's a good time as well to think, how important is this task? Okay, could we deflect? Could we go and do something different? Could we in fact do this an hour later rather than 5 minutes later? So I'm assuming that this is a timed task and we need to go and do this now. But if it isn't, is this something that maybe we can give ourselves time on and just say, okay, maybe not? Another thing you need to do is maybe put the choice back into their hands. Okay, so they're getting their voice heard. So you've got your symbols for now, kitchen, next, nannies. Give them to them and say, what do you want to do? What is now? Now nannies or now kitchen? What do you want? And let them place that symbol down. Let them give you that symbol. What do I want? Maybe they might then give you a symbol of but Bing or but TV. And you can then, that's brilliant. That's opening negotiation. That's great. Oh, TV, yes. Never TV, no. TV, yes. TV now 5 minutes or TV at nannies. Longer. So now you've opened negotiation. What do you want? Oh, you want TV? Brilliant. Do you want TV now, but for 5 minutes? Or do you want TV later? So it's thinking about, what do we want? What is the goal here? What are we trying to achieve? And is it necessary to achieve this now? Is this something, in fact, we could work towards? Now that we've discovered an impossible job, we've discovered a PDA, is this something, in fact, a barrier we can work towards? Okay, so I'm hoping I've given you a couple of strategies here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about yourself when it's you who's now in the impossible job. Now, I have had the impossible job at the door before. Well, I can't go shopping. I can't go shopping. I don't want to. I don't want to go shopping. I can't. And it's so frustrating. I've got to go shopping. I've got nothing in the cupboards. I need to go shopping. I'm a grown-up. I have got to go shopping. Why is my internal teenager, why is my brain weasel refusing to let me go shopping? And I've had to go back and process, what's the problem? What are my barriers here? What don't I want to do? Is there any way to make this more fun? Is there any way to make this more interesting? Could I in fact do something else and then shop on the way back? So rather than go shopping, maybe I go walk the dog and I can pop to the shops on the way back. Or if I really don't want to do that either, is there another way I can do this? So could I use online delivery instead? That's still shopping. That's fine. I've just found a different way to do it. Is the barrier, in fact, going out and not shopping? So I will find different strategies, different ways to go around this. Sometimes a really good thing for me to do is to figure out somebody to body double with. Do I have a friend I can call to meet at the shop? Or a friend I can call to come over and we'll go shopping together. Or even somebody to just have on the phone while I do that task. And I'm very, very lucky that I have friends I can call and do that with who understand. Sometimes I just need a body double for something. In fact, I've got a friend I can call because I need to empty the dishwasher. And I can literally just go, hi, I'm just calling you out of the blue. Can I chuck you on FaceTime? Because I've got a task I don't want to do. And we can chat while we do it. So I'm very fortunate that I have people I can call. But there are actually apps available and sites available for body doubling. I know there's a really lovely person who has created a site called Dubby, which is literally about body doubling. But having somebody to body double, that's not giving up. That's not a failure. That's a really, really good strategy. Doing something else at the same time, brilliant strategy. Chucking a podcast on or a reel or this video, and then go and get something done, but you're watching this, you're just doing that as a distracted secondary task. Great. That's a really, really good strategy because it's going to distract those brain weasels from stopping you doing your impossible job. That's why a lot of people will listen to music while you do housework. They're doing it themselves. They're giving themselves that thing. A warning. Do not promise yourself a reward when it's done. And do not promise a reward to your young person, your child, if they do the thing. Okay, that sounds like a really, really good strategy, and it's a really good strategy to work on people without PDA. It's a really good strategy to work that works with people who are neurotypical, or who are more neurotypical, or who are neurodiverse but don't have PDA as part of their diagnosis. Putting a reward onto a task for somebody with pathological demand avoidance is a task killer and a guaranteed meltdown. I already can't do this task. I already can't go. I already can't put my coat on. If you put your coat on, you can have this bar of chocolate. Well, now, not only can I not put my coat on, I can't even have chocolate. You've just said I can't have chocolate. Well, I really want chocolate. And I can't. I'm now worse than ever. So do not fall into the trap. Do not put a reward on. You could remind of the rewards. When we get to nannies, we can have chocolate. If we don't get to nannies, that's fine. So you can remind of a reward, but do not place the reward contingent on the impossible job, because that is really, really cruel. It's really, really hard. If you do 3 impossible things, you can have a good thing. Well, now I can't have a good thing. I can't do 3. I can't even do 1 impossible thing. Now you're just torturing me. So don't place a reward. Also, another thing that does not work with pathological demand avoidance are stickers. You get a sticker every time you put your coat on. Well, you can't, there's no point. You need to remove the idea that putting your coat on is a big deal. You add a sticker to it, now it's a big deal. Now putting my coat on is a big deal. Now going to the toilet is a big deal. Now using the bathroom is a big deal. Now washing my hands is a big deal. The more of a big deal something is, the more likely I will avoid it, the more demanding it becomes. So you need to make sure that it's just not a big deal. The thing you most want is not a big deal. You can put a reward, you can put a sticker on things that are things they already do, so that builds their self-esteem and it makes them feel good about themselves. Or things you want to attract attention to around and in your day. So you want to attract attention to things like you were really independent. So you might just out of the blue. So you always give the sticker after they've already done it. You don't tell them that they'll get a sticker for something. You will turn around and go, you just did that on your own. Wow, sticker. That's really good. Well done. But it doesn't, that's great. You're just attracting attention to a thing that has happened. You're not saying in order to get stickers, you must do a thing, because that's the massive difference between a reward to attract attention to something and a demand to do something for a reward. Okay. I know this has been really long. I hope this has been really informative. If you would like more information, or if you would like to talk to me more about PDA or how to work with your young person with PDA, please do get in touch. I do these videos more often, and I'm going to place these videos more often onto YouTube. So please do that thing, where you have to like and follow and subscribe. Subscribers is where it's at. The more subscribers I have, the more the channel will show my videos to people. The more likes I get, the more I know you're enjoying this content. So that's really important too. Okay. Everything else, if you know somebody, share it. Everything else is just gravy. All right. But don't feel you have to. This is not a demand. Stay sparkly, my neurodiverse crew. You are amazing. And remember, you are doing brilliantly. Whatever it is you're doing, no matter what your challenges are today, here we are together. You've done it. You've got through them. Okay. You're doing brilliantly. Give yourself some credit. Give yourself some love. And remember that it's not easy. And you're doing everything you can. And sometimes everything you can is giving yourself some time and taking some time off. Don't forget to relax. Enjoy.